When you're setting up to save pieces, sometimes it's easier to rename them from within AccuMark Explorer. So if I wanted to copy my basic pattern set, I could right click and copy, and then come up to my name on the C drive and click on that, and right click and paste components. That puts in Basic Sloper F13, and it also brings the pieces that are within that model into the file list. And because I don't want to overwrite them, I'm going to right click on Basic Sloper, and I'm in my C drive with my name, and I'm going to right click and say rename. And so I'm going to add my name to that, and now it's got my name on it. It's still labeled, but it's mine. And then I'm going to come down to all of the F13 pieces. So I've got a few here, and I'm just going to, this is the back that is going to be a princess line, I can tell by the icon. So I'm in rename. Oh goodness. And I'm going to erase the part I don't want and add my name to it. And then I'll do that to the rest of them. And rename is a little easier for me. So I'm renaming them all, and there actually is even a faster way to do this. It's been a while since I did it, but you can also go into Find and rename them all at the same time. So all of them have been renamed with my name. Most of them say size 8 and all of the piece names. And that was easier to do quickly, just all in a row in AccuMark Explorer. Not Windows, AccuMark Explorer. And now that I've got them changed, because I can use this one, the name within the model is not going to be correct. So all of my pieces are empty now because I changed the name. So I'm going to go through and click on the name and then the dots, and I'm going to choose all of the ones that I just renamed and then open them. So they're now the same, and I didn't delete that one, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete the row. And to delete the row, I have to click on the number 12, not within the box, and then delete the row. I could probably go in and just delete the words that are in there. And if this works like Excel, you could probably go through and do all of the sheets at once. But I'm clicking on it, highlighting the name, and then pushing the delete button. And these are the missing pieces. Okay, so I've cleaned out the ones out of the model file, and I've put in the ones with the new name. And if you weren't here for that, I can put the flat of what I'm doing in this little picture right here, but since I didn't have any flats, I just chose a picture. And if you have your picture uploaded, into the pictures, then you can upload your flat. And I don't like that one as well, so I'm going back to something else. Okay, so that could be the flat of what I was working on. The best option for clearing things out that you don't want there is to highlight it and say clear contents. And when you clear contents and save it, then it closes properly. So I'm going to come up to the save icon and click save, and it's all saved. And I have the pieces I want in here. It shows the category, the piece description, and how many flips you want. So if you were actually going to make a marker of this, I would have to come in, and on the bodice back I would choose one left and one right, and on the bodice front I would just choose one because it's on the fold. Okay, I'll close that, and I don't need to save that. So now I've got this in my name, and I've renamed the pieces, and that's the safest way to do that. So I can now come into File, Open, and I want my model and not my piece list, so I'm going to come down to this little box and switch to Model, and I want the one with my name and the basic sloper list. And there are my basic slopers. The ones that you were going to be using first are your front and your back. Before you start using them, it would be a good idea to put your name on it and maybe leave a space for what is happening with the assignment. So if I come up to Edit Annotation, choose the annotation, say OK, that's all correct. I might be changing it from a basic sloper though, so I'm going to clear that, and I could put in Dart Practice, but I don't want to keep that on everything. So I've got front bodice, and I'm going to enter and add my name to the top of it. And then apply. I can also choose copy because I've already changed that one. I'm just using copy, and I'm going to put it on the back, and it's my back bodice, so I'm changing the word front to the word back, and apply and OK. And then I've got this one, and I don't want that one anymore, so I'm going to delete that one because it's generic, and say OK. Except I need to delete one more letter. Alright, apply and OK. So now with that generic label, it will be easier for you to just copy paste it where you need it to go, and you can delete Form 13 Room 404 too. Okay, so now you're ready to start saving the pieces. going to come out, because I only want to be working with these two right now, I'm going to open a new file. So I come up to File, this blue one, and say New, and that opened a new work area. So I'm going to come over and say File, Open, and switch back to Pieces. And then I can come over to my bodice front and back and hold down the Shift key and open them both, and let's see if they saved. They are not saved. So in order for them to actually save, I have to close this work area, and it asks me if I want to save those two pieces, and I'm going to have to say Save and Close. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these two icons and open them again. And then Modify Delete Piece. I'm sure I will have shown you every mistake possible. Okay, File, Open, and now when I open those, they should be the new version. Yeah, so it has my name on it and the changes. So now I can create piece copy and set it down, and I'm going to leave front one, I like that, and say OK. And I don't want to enter codes. And I'm going to put it in my Dart practice. If I didn't already have Dart practice, then I would type in my name and Dart practice, if that's what I'm working on. If you're working on something else, you would type in the name of the model that you're going to use it in. So I'm going to cancel that. I want to copy it again. So this time I'm going to label it Piece 2. And say OK. And if I don't want it to keep taking me to model, I'm going to undo that. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I have the 6 pieces that I want. Well, the 5 pieces I want, because we've got our back. So we're up to 4. So it doesn't have me add the types of pieces when I deselect Add Piece to Model. Okay, and 5. So I've got my 5 pieces. And I'm going to cancel now so it stops making new pieces, and I've got the plain one that's already up there, and I've got piece 1, piece 2, well, I skipped 3. So I need to make 2 more copies, and I'm going to copy these 2. But you get the idea. And as soon as I've saved them and I want to keep them and not have them get overwritten, I'm going to right click on them and say Piece to Menu. But instead of Piece to Menu, I said Delete from Work Area, and it's gone permanently. So I have 1, 4, and 5. So I'm going to go back in to create Piece Copy and create Piece 2 and 3. And this one I want to give it a different name because if I make a change to it, it's going to be in a new model by itself. Okay, so I'm finished with that. So this one's already in the list up there. This one doesn't have a space yet. So I put all my new pieces in the menu. And if I'm going to use those for something else, I'm going to highlight all of them. I'm holding down the key and then I'm going to push and they will all come down here. So that probably wasn't very clear. I'm going to come up to modify, over to delete, and I'm going to delete all the pieces from the screen. So one more time, I want these 6 pieces. So I'm going to touch down and hold the button and drag it across. Then I'm going to release the button. All of the pieces are highlighted, and that was my pointer finger on the left mouse button. Then I'm going to touch that again. I'm going to click once with the left mouse button, and that brings them all down. And maybe I'm a little OCD, but I'm going to put my bodice front first and my second one, because they're going to appear in the order that I click on them. So there we go. That's the order that I want them to appear in my new model. So I'm going to come up and say File, Create Edit Model, Add Pieces, and I'm going to start a new model. So I'll start with my name. Always start with your name so they end up together when we're looking for them. And Dart Practice, I've already got one by that name. So I'll call it Dart Practice 3. But you would name it whatever you were going to use the pieces for. And because of the way I did it, I already have them all labeled. Did I actually do that? I just gave it the name. File, Add Pieces. There it is. Say OK. Now it says to select the pieces to add to the model, which I didn't do last time, and I'm going to check them, click on them in the order that I want them to appear there. So now they are all there. And I can go ahead and make changes to my pieces. If I decide I want to close this and I'm finished, I'll click on it and it says I clicked on the X. I have 6 unsaved pieces and 1 unsaved model, so I want to say save and exit so I don't lose them. And now I can see Dart Practice number 3. I can see the pieces that are in it. And if you have an eDrive or you want to copy what you've done to ZeroShare, and this would be after you've made changes to the pieces, you would right click on it and say copy, and then you would put it in the file folder. So if I were turning it in Fall 22 Practice, I would highlight that and say paste components, and my file folder and the pieces, my piece list and pieces went in, and so now I can grade them. we're missing the grade rule that we need here. So I'm going to come down and right click, copy that, and go ahead and put it into the practice folder. Okay, so that would be how you would turn them in if you were ready to turn them in, or how you would paste them into your eDrive if you want a backup copy, which would be smart.